recording.
Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful morning here in Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm so happy that we have Gabi from Pashut Tech in Israel, and we'll do our second session today. Today, Gabi will talk about a future of AI and show imaging application for AI. To those who were not on the earlier call, we recorded it, and Gabi talked about AI, what it is, give some sample to application. I think it was very informative. Before we continue further, I would like to thank Breyer & Breyer, their full-service insurance broker, providing customized insurance package to individuals, families, and businesses. They're sponsoring this event, this podcast. And thank you, of course, to Uriel Sharkey and Gabi Arnovich, who are the founders of PushTech. It's a pleasure to work with them, I have to say. I know Uriel for more than probably 15 years. He hosted a couple of our missions from Rhode Island, and it's just nice to see how those relations continue to develop. So with that said, Gabi, please, it's all yours. And again, to the audience, if you have a question, please post them on, on the chat. And later in the end, we'll allow 10-15 minutes for questions. So Gabi, thank you, and it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Avi. So it's good to be here. I'm gonna show the video. You can see, yeah? Okay. So today is gonna be the second lecture from the first lecture. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about the future and what the future is gonna look like with AI. You know, it's not 100%, but there is a lot of things that we can know that will be in the future. And the second part of the of our lecture will be a little bit about image generation, how we're able to basically create images with AI. Right? It's a completely new thing that has happened in technology, where I can just tell the computer, you know, draw me an image, create a logo, create a flyer, and it's really amazing to see. And I hope that after today, you guys will also be able to do it on your own. So let's start and talk about how AI will shape the future of our lives. So in our full course, we usually talk about a lot of things. Today, we're going to only talk about two main aspects. And the first one, before we talk about that, I just want to say a little bit, one small thing about regulation. AI is going to change the world completely. You can imagine how the internet changed the world. And now when we're talking about AI, it's this huge power that anybody can basically use. And so the government is maybe waking up to this a little late, but there's a lot of regulation that is needed to be done. And the United States really did do a blueprint for how to deal with AI. It's you can read it and it will be attached. There's a link to this lecture. Basically, there's all these safeguards that will protect you know, citizens from the AI. I don't think that it's perfect, but I think it is some kind of step in the right direction. So the two things that I want to talk about today and how AI will shape the future, one of which is education. So education is something that I'm very excited about because I think that everybody on this call was educated in a pretty similar way. We all sat in a classroom with maybe 15 to 30 students, and we were all taught by one teacher with one whiteboard. Some of us maybe had a projector with the computers, but basically we all studied the same way. And this might not be the best way for each person to learn. 30 kids in a classroom, each kid is an individual, and each kid can learn in his own pace, in his own way. Maybe he needs to learn outside. Maybe he needs a different way of explaining it to them. So it's very interesting to think that maybe AI will finally shake the education world a little and show us a new way that maybe we can teach our children. So today, education hasn't changed for over 100 years, as I said, but AI could really change because it's very cheap. Imagine that if I have a machine that can be a personal tutor, and it can be a personal tutor for anyone. We saw last lecture that any of us can just open our website and talk to the AI and have a whole conversation. Imagine that any kid today will be able to open his computer and try to do homework on his own and be able to ask the AI how, if he got a question wrong, why did he get the question wrong? So basically there will be a personal tutor for every child that can just go on the computer, even talk to the computer and have a reaction. And we're gonna see a video about something that is already happening today, which is, I think, mind-blowing. It's also personal compared to 30 20 people in a classroom with one teacher. With AI, each kid can have a personal teacher, a personal tutor, something that most of the times was only available for the upper class. And also it is very adaptive. It could understand each child's needs, and it could understand how to teach each child. Okay, so if a certain student doesn't get something right, the AI can ask him a bunch of questions to understand what he does understand and what he doesn't understand, and why he understands a certain thing, and could actually show him the way or her the way to correctly learn new skills. So here is an example of how AI can be used through education. We have here a private tutor, a chatbot. This specific person, his name is Khan Sal Khan. He created a company called Khan Academy, and he started off as a tutor. He tutored his, I think, his niece, and he created a video for her on YouTube on algebra, and that video blew up on YouTube, I think, and basically he understood that just on his own he can teach thousands and maybe millions of kids all these different algebra and geometry, and so today there's millions and millions of students learning through Khan Academy. He has hundreds and thousands of hours of lectures that are recorded. He teaches everything from preschool to how to code, how to write code, how to program, biology. He teaches everything on his website, all free. And what he did, which was really amazing, is he connected with ChatGPT, which is the OpenAI. We talked about it in the last lecture, and he made a chatbot that was able to see what the student basically give all these problems for the student and a math problem, and he could chat with the student to see what he understood and what he didn't understand. And instead of giving them the answer, it talks to them and it sees what he understood and what he didn't understand, and kind of push him in the direction of getting the answer right. So we're going to see a video of this in action. I think it's amazing. So I'm going to play this video. I just want to stop the, I just want to make sure you can hear. I'm going to share my screen again. This is always a problem with Zoom. Okay. So I see that you can see. Okay, great. So I'm going to play this video.
So this right over here is a traditional exercise that you or many of your children might have seen on Khan Academy. But what's new is that little bot thing at the right. And we'll start by seeing one of the very important safeguards, which is the conversation is recorded and viewable by your teacher. It's moderated actually by a second AI. And also, it does not tell you the answer. It is not a cheating tool. Notice, when the student says, tell me the answer, it says, I'm your tutor. What do you think is the next step for solving the problem? Now, if the student makes a mistake, and this will surprise people who think large language models are not good at mathematics, notice not only does it notice the mistake, it asks the student to explain their reasoning, but it's actually doing what I would say not just even an average tutor would do, but an excellent tutor would do. It's actually it's able to divine what is probably the misconception in that student's mind, that they probably didn't use the distributive properly. Remember, we need to distribute the -2 to both the 9 and the 2m inside of the parentheses. This to me is a very, very, very big deal. And it's not just in math.
Okay, so that was a math problem, but here you can see that it's actually teaching them how to program. So he switched to now a lesson on how to program, how to write code.
This is a computer programming exercise on Khan Academy where the student needs to make the clouds part. And so we can see the student starts defining a variable, left x minus minus. It only made the left cloud part, but then they can ask Khanmigo, what's going on? Why is only the left cloud moving? And it understands the code. It knows all the context of what the student is doing, and it understands that those ellipses are there to draw clouds, which I think is kind of mind-blowing. And it says...
Okay, so now I don't know if you guys are as excited as me, but when I see something like this, it's really incredible because each student will be able to try and do homework, and they'll be able to ask this chatbot. It's not moving correctly. The cloud isn't moving. I can't get to the right answer. And the chatbot, instead of saying, I'm giving you the answer, which is probably what most of our parents did when they sat down and did a homework with you, because it's a lot of patience to have to say, okay, you were right on this aspect, but did you think of a different angle? It takes a lot of patience, and that's why being a tutor is such an important job. And imagine now that the AI can understand what the student is getting right and what the student isn't getting right, and then not only that, it could also send this feedback to the teacher, send this feedback to the parent, and all of the progress of the child will be backed up by data. And it could be a little scary thinking that each kid will have all this data and we may be overdoing it. But on the other hand, there are all these students that have been forgotten, and maybe in second grade where they weren't able to really figure out the mathematics or miss a month of school. This way they can sit at home, learn at their own pace, and if they truly do want to learn, they'll have this chatbot that they can talk to, they can communicate with, to fix everything they don't know and learn on their own pace. Even imagine the fact that if there's a kid that really likes soccer or really likes football, and if a tutor can come and say, okay, let's give an example from the world of basketball, from the world of football, and give the child more of a reason to learn, this can be a game changer for education. And I think that this is going to be something that we're going to see is going to really change the world. Okay. I can't see. Just 1 second. I'm going to try to do one more share. I'm not able to see anybody. Okay. Just making sure people can see. Okay. Okay, so here you can also see that New York City, I'm sure you read this article, New York City public schools drop ban on AI tool for ChatGPT. A lot of schools are getting scared of ChatGPT. They're getting scared of the fact that students can just write essays in minutes. I personally think that this is crazy. I remember when my teachers told me that I couldn't use the internet to copy and paste all of the assignments that we got. We'll see. I think that at the end of the day, what we saw in the last slide and what's going to happen is the schools are going to have to find a way to connect the AI to the way people are getting educated, and I think it's going to be a game changer. Here's another example. I don't know if any of you heard of Duolingo. Duolingo is one of the most famous applications. It's an app on your phone where you can learn pretty much any language. Until today, it was more of a game. So you would play this game where you would learn the first couple of words, and then based on that, you would unlock all these levels and continue until you actually learn the language. And so this is an app that doesn't have that much AI and is a very basic app. And they partnered with ChatGPT 4, and they created a chatbot that is able to talk to you in the language. And so basically you would get, it'd ask you a question or have a conversation with you, and then you could answer. And if you didn't answer correctly, the chatbot would say, you're almost there. You can see right here for the first example, almost there. But when gustar is used with the plural object like vestidos, okay, it's teaching him why he was wrong and what he should have done. Okay, so this is amazing. It's a personal tutor that will help us learn languages or geometry or mathematics, and it really is a game changer. So the second aspect of this world that I think is going to be very changed by AI is transportation. So we talked about education. Now we're going to talk a little bit about transportation. So today, I think no matter where you live, if it's in Rhode Island or if it's in Tel Aviv or if it's in Jerusalem, there's a huge amount of inefficiency of transportation today. One of the things that makes me crazy is when I'm sitting in traffic and I'm looking all around, and we're not moving, and every single vehicle is with one person in the car. And you can imagine that is just it's absurd that all these people are sitting and waiting in traffic. They could be carpooling, they could be in a bus, and it could the traffic does not have to happen. And there's a lot of inefficiency today with transportation. So you can imagine that once we have autonomous vehicles, AI, cars that can drive themselves, buses that can drive themselves, smart traffic lights, this is something that will change our lives. And I'm willing to take a bet that in 50, 70, 60 years, people are going to look back at us that we sat in traffic like the way we look back at people that rode horses. I think that it's they won't even believe that we were sitting in traffic for 2-3 hours at a time, wasting all this time just sitting in these boxed cars. So autonomous vehicles is something I'm going to show a video about, which is completely AI. Artificial intelligence is in control of the car, and of course, statistically speaking, the main reason for deaths and for car crashes is human error. And I think that if a computer it will have full autonomy, statistically, it will be much safer to drive an autonomous car than to be in a car that is driven by a human being. So that's something that's going to change our lives completely. You can also imagine traffic routing and optimization. Today we use Waze, but you can imagine that if there's an AI that can have in real time can see all of the country and all of where there's traffic, it could basically decide when to have a green light, when to have a red light, how to move traffic so that it would be more efficient. Smart parking. I don't know if you guys have a problem with parking where you guys live, but in Tel Aviv, it's impossible to park. And this can be something that can be much smarter and be done with more efficiency. The infrastructure is ready. What I mean by this is that we all have cell phones. We're all connected to the internet. We all have, our cars are getting smarter. So we're pretty close to the fact that everything will be connected to the internet. Everything will be sending data. The cars even are going to be able to communicate with themselves. You can even imagine that if there's a huge traffic jam or people on a road between two cities, if all the cars are connected to each other, you can imagine that it can become one train that everybody's going at the same pace. It could be even 90, 120 miles per hour. And once the first car brakes, all of the cars brakes, and there can be basically just one whole train that's flying by on one of those smart lanes or a carpool lane. So there's a lot to look forward to on that aspect. I want to show an AI startup, an Israeli AI startup that has to do with transportation. It has to do with emergency units. And what they do is they give all of the units a real-time picture of what's happening in a certain situation. So if there's a car burning down, or if there was a car accident, first the 911 gets a call, and then there's a dispatch. The people that are answering the car, the phone call, they have this startup gives them video imaging of the incident. It connects all of the ground units with video. It connects them with data, and we'll just see this short video to see how AI can help policemen and emergency and ambulances save lives.
And we're going to say it's an injury since he hit the wall. And we're going to switch it to camera view 212 so that that's what gets that video clip out to the troopers.
Camera 2 11 we used to be able to see pretty good around.
The first screen that comes up is a...
So I think this is a policeman or an ambulance who's talking.
An overview of the incident. So it's going to give us a map that's going to give us the direction of how to get to that incident if we are to respond to it. Which is all the way in the northwest part of the valley. It gives us a quick snapshot picture of where the incident is, what travel lane is located, what it's blocking. So if we have a more significant incident and we're looking at a hazmat spill, it really tells us a lot of information about where are the hazards, where we need to set up, how do we need to close the roadway, and possibly what other resources we need to contact for this specific incident.
Okay, so you can see that this is very interesting and it can save a lot of lives. Okay. This is something that I think is fascinating. I don't know if any of you heard of Mobileye. Mobileye is one of the most successful startups in Israel. They are an autonomous vehicle technology company. They basically create the technology that can be, their dream is to attach it to any car. They have their technology can make a car completely autonomous. And what's very interesting here is that in this video that I'm about to show you, it's in Jerusalem. And I don't know also if any of you have driven in Jerusalem. It's very, very difficult. People are very aggressive drivers and the roads are very narrow. And I want to show you an example of a car that's fully autonomous. There is somebody sitting in the front seat, but not driving. The car is completely driving itself. And there's a situation where I'm going to show you now is that it's a very Israeli situation where people are not so patient, and how the car it maneuvers and makes decisions in real time. So let's see the video.
Arrow. Oh, this is very interesting. The lane is blocked, and yeah, we are driving around as we should. And the bus gives a sign that we can actually drive through. So it is very tight, but not too tight, and we'll be driving.
So you can see that on the right, there's people taking things out of the trunk. The bus driver is getting impatient. He's flashing his lights. And he's telling him to go, and the bus driver doesn't even realize, but there's nobody behind the wheel. There's somebody behind the wheel, but he's not touching the wheel. You can see down here on the bottom, the wheel is moving on its own, and it's completely driving, and it completely maneuvered this way. He went into the other lane. He understood that the bus was flashing his light to tell him to keep moving. It's incredible what it was able to do. Okay. So now we're going to go and move to our second topic of our lecture, and this is image generators. So we talked a little about the future. We gave you a little taste of what AI is going to have an impact on our future lives. And now I want to talk about image generations. Okay, so what do I mean by image generators? We're going to have a little bit of inspiration and to show you what AI can create. This is very interesting. So some Israeli project made with AI. So here you have what Talia Sachar did as an embroidered safari. There's a link that will be attached to this lecture. So you can see that AI, she created these animals for safari with yarn. And this isn't something that's real. This is the AI completely generated these photos. You can see that it's very detailed and it's a very interesting concept. Things that maybe would have taken hours and hours and hours to generate, to make, to sew. I think she made this, it didn't take her as long, of course. And it breaks the boundaries of creativity. And you can see here it's an elephant and the lion. I think this is really amazing. The next project that I want to show you of images that were created by artificial intelligence. This is Karen Poleg, and she called it Women and AI. You can see that these are very interesting images. She's really changing and pushing the boundaries of creativity. Some of these are very detailed. And really incredible things that you could put as a poster in your home. So these are artists that have always been creative, but now they can really push the boundaries of what they're able to do with art. Okay, so this is two images that aren't real. These aren't real people. So this is completely, when we talk about image creation of AI, it's not only, it can also be very realistic. So I don't think any of you would have noticed that these are fake images, but basically AI can create now, completely realistic pictures of people. So, just a very, very general explanation on how it works. We talked about in the last lecture that to teach the AI, we need to train it on a lot of data. We can show him 1 million pictures of cats, and we can show it 1 million pictures of dogs and teach it what a dog is and what a cat is, and it can reinforce what it knows. And it's like it's machine learning. We don't want to go into that too much into the specifics, but basically a lot of the image creation is, it starts by layers. It layers, the first layer could be very fuzzy, and slowly it takes out the noise. What's called noise is whatever's not relevant to the picture. And it's always predicting how statistically it looks like what we asked for. So here you can see that the first layer is very fuzzy and slowly becomes a cat, because that's probably what we asked from the AIs to create a cat, maybe with green eyes. So it basically puts down layers and layers and layers until I get the correct image. And also here you can see the reverse example, where we asked for a factory line operated by AI robots. In the beginning, you don't really understand what the image is, and slowly each layer is being built. It's taking off what's not relevant. Each pixel is being built until we get a proper image, and this is the last image. Here you see that it's a more futuristic image, but that's basically the background of how it works. And this is the final image. You can see it's an image that I basically they asked for an AI robot factory. It looks, pretty futuristic, but something that you can use for a slide or for a presentation. So when we want to create an image, this is just a very basic guideline. You can define an image type. Okay, so with AI, basically the sky's the limit. So you can decide what you want to create and what kind of image you want to have created. So you can have a paper cut image, you can have a 3D illustration, you can have vector, you can have pencil drawing, you can have oil painting, infographic, you can have so many types. These are just a couple examples of things that you can use to create an image. You can also define the color. If you want vibrant colors, if you want psychedelic colors, this color splash, you want bold colors, happy colors, you can really decide what kind of coloring you want, and the AI will create it for you. So now we talked about, till now we talked about, just a basic and very general lecture. Now I want to talk about a little bit more practical. I want to show you how each and every one of you can create an image completely for free with your computers. So we're going to teach Bing. Bing is the search engine that is owned by Microsoft. All of us know Google. We know that Google is the most famous search engine, but there is also Bing. Bing it's just not as successful as Google, but it's Microsoft's search engine. And in that search engine, you can also create images. The technology that is behind this certain image creating is called DALL-E. It is also owned by OpenAI. I don't want you guys to be confused by the names and everything. So whoever that means anything to anyone, great. But if not, it really doesn't matter. There's many image generators. Bing is based on DALL-E. There's Midjourney, if any of you heard. There's Lexica. There's Leonardo. All these image generations we teach in a full course that we give. But today we're just going to show one example that works pretty well. So let's go and show you how we can get there. Okay, so first what you want to do is open Google. Okay. And in Google, we want to look for Bing. Okay, Bing is B-I-N-G. Any of you can do this, Bing. And if you want to be more exact, you can write Bing Image Creator. Okay, so you can do Bing Image Creator on Google. Okay, and you press enter. Okay, and you can see that the first option is Image Creator from Microsoft Bing. You can see that it's www.bing.com/create. This is what you're going to want to use. It's usually going to be the first one. You just need to make sure that it says Image Creator from Microsoft. You need to make sure that this doesn't say if there's no advertisement. Sometimes the advertisement comes first, and that's not exactly what I wanted. So just make sure that it's www.bing.com/create. You can also just type that right into the URL, and you're going to want to press the link on one small press. And then it's going to open. It's going to open this website. You're going to want to join and create. There's a button here to join and create. This is how you sign in. Okay, you join and create. Now you need to connect with a Microsoft account. I have a Microsoft account, but if you don't, you can always sign in with a different account. You can sign up. But I have a Microsoft account. It's just like creating any account. You just put an email in and you decide on a password. It sends you an email to make sure that the email is yours, and then you can start an account. I already have done an account, so I'm gonna go to my account that's already signed in. Okay. And once you signed in, this is what you are going to see. And this is pretty straightforward to all image generators. So I'm going to show you, on the top, you can see that you have what's now in a red box. You can see that I have a place to write a prompt, to write, I want to tell the AI what I can make, okay? And I have a create button. Okay, so it's very simple. I just say what I want and that I want to create it, okay? So let's give an example, okay? And you guys are welcome to write in the chat if anything you want me to create, any picture that you want, write us in the chat and I'll create it. However, I just want to say first, it needs to be pretty simple. So I can't have somebody standing on a building with fire coming out of the building and traffic on the bottom, and have it nighttime and daytime. Make it very, very specific. However, if it's a winter or if it's a mountain, it's fine. You can with a cottage or anything. Just don't make it too crazy. You're welcome to write me in the chat. I'm going to start with a simple. It's not so simple, but I'm going to start with something that I would like to see something that maybe I would even put on as a painting on my wall. So let's say a painting. So I'm going to write now here. I'm going to write a painting. Let's say an oil painting. Okay. Now you know what? A picture painting. We'll just do painting of a cottage on a snowy mountain. Okay. And even if I write it, if I misspelled it, it still will understand what I want. I wrote what I wanted, and now I can just press on enter, or I can press on create over here. Okay. I can press on create, and notice how it's going to start thinking. It gives me a little tip. It gives me a little tip on something that I can do. Here you can see this image. It was created, and it was a grizzly bear dressed as a cowboy. It's it's something that it's trying to say. But here you can see now the image that I got. This does look like a painting. It gives me 4 options. Okay. And you can see that it really tried to do as a painting. You can see the brush, even the brush strokes of the painting. And it gives me a snowy mountain. It gives me the cottage. I can change this. I can write, sorry. I can change this maybe if I want. And I can write, instead of a painting, I can say a realistic picture, okay? And you notice how I didn't write realistic correctly. I don't even need to correct it. I can do create. And now you're going to see how different it's going to be from the first image that I created. Okay, here I see Lewis asked for a doll head. Okay, you can even give more examples, but look at this. This is much more realistic. You can see these pictures are amazing. Okay, and you can even see that it has smoke coming out of the chimney. The lights are on in the cottage. It's a warmy feeling. And you can add to this. You can add. Let's say I want to add. Let's say I want to add with birds in the sky. And let's say I wanted to say horses in the yard. Okay, let's see, maybe not in the yard. Horses. Let's just do horses. Okay, horses in the snow. Okay, now I'm maybe pushing the limit of the artificial intelligence because this is a lot of things. But let's see if he's able to do it. Lewis, I'm going to show your example in a second. Lewis said doll head. So you can, let's say okay, so look at this. It's amazing. You see the horses on the floor. Here, this picture is actually pretty amazing. You can see that there's horses. You can see that there's birds in the sky. It's a little bit, not detailed, but I created this very, very quickly. So I think that this is pretty amazing. Let's try doing Lewis's example. Let's say a doll head. Let's say a girl with green eyes. Okay, sometimes it flags things randomly. Like if you write a girl or sometimes it flags it, and then it doesn't let me do it. So maybe this won't work, but let's see. Okay, it's gonna work. Now I didn't say what kind of image. I didn't say any colors. I mean, I did say the colors of the eyes, but you can say you can use any aspect. But here you can see that this is a realistic picture, and it did create a doll's head. And notice that this image was never created. It's not that I'm searching the internet, and this is an image that is on the internet. This is a completely new image that artificial intelligence has created. Okay. So if anybody else wants to give another example in the chat, I can show you a different example. Let's say I want a paper cut of Jerusalem. Okay. Okay, a paper cut of Jerusalem. Let's say, okay, let's just put it that way. Okay, let's say I want to send a card to someone else, and I want to have a picture on the card. Okay, I want to attach it to the letter that I'm writing them, maybe for the new year. So here you can see how incredible this is. This is something that would take probably at least an hour for somebody to make. You can see that it really looks like a paper cut image. If I look, you can see it gives me all these different kinds of colors. And here, this one looks very, very much like some of the aspects in Jerusalem. It's just incredible and amazing what we're able to do in seconds. This specific site, I'm only allowed to use 96 tokens. You can see up here that it says there's 100 tokens a day, I think. which is a lot. It means you can create 100 images. You saw that I created 4 images, and it already took off out of 104 images. And I can basically use this as much as I want. Let's give another example. Let's say a painting by, so let's say Van Gogh, as, I don't think I'm writing his name right, as Van Gogh himself, okay? So, okay, I think this is wrong. Okay, let's see if he understands. On purpose, I wrote it without spelling it correctly. See if it will understand, even though I didn't spell it correctly. Okay, you can see it understood, even though I didn't spell it correctly. It gives an image of Van Gogh as Van Gogh itself. I think this is incredible. It understands the style of what I wanted, and it created an image on this style, in this style. Is there any other examples? Maybe you want to, maybe somebody wants to open their microphone and ask for a certain thing. You are more than welcome to. But you know, growing up, my mom was an artist, is an artist. You know, of course, she's a very successful artist, and I could never draw. I could never create art. And when I started, you know, playing around with this AI image creating, I had this feeling that I can suddenly create. I can create, and I can use my imagination to create all these new things. And it really gives you this feeling that anything, you can really create anything visual, and it's an amazing feeling. Okay, so I see that Jeanette asked for a person talking to a robot. So I'm just I copied exactly what she wrote, and I'm pasting it into the search button. Okay, so it's a person talking to a robot. If you can't see, let's see what image is created. Okay, a person, it could be a woman, it could be a man, it could be, but you can see that it created this image. Now, there's something that happens a lot in AI image generations, that generators, is that they never get the fingers right. So you can see there's something very weird about the images, that the fingers are never right. They're getting better at that lately, but if you can see here, you know, there's this random hand here, and there's a random hand here. It's just something that the AI hasn't mastered yet. But I think this picture is pretty good. You can probably use it, you know, for a flyer. This one is even a little better, but his hands are still a little weird. We really can create anything with the AI. So that's one image generator that there is. There's many more. A lot of people are trying to win the fight for who's going to be the best app to create images. There's Midjourney, there's Leonardo, there's a lot of companies that are in this space. And you know, it's not so clear who's going to be the winner and if it's going to be profitable enough for all of us to use. But now we can enjoy this, that you know, everybody's basically competing on who's going to be the best image generator, and we can just sit back and create images and enjoy it. And so this is something that's very interesting and anybody can use. Okay, I'm going to go back to our, and we're towards the end of the lecture, so we'll leave time for people to ask questions. Okay, there's a few more examples here. This, as I showed, was a snowy mountain with a cozy cottage. You can see that, you know, when we created this lecture, you know, months ago, this was the image that was created, and it's not the same image that I showed you when we did it on the website. So you can see each time it creates a different image. Each time it does it a little different. It doesn't use the same images each time. And this is a paper cut. Also, this I showed you. It was a little different when I showed you it of Jerusalem. And that's all. We're going to leave a little bit, you know, a couple minutes for people to ask questions. But any of you can go and use this website to create images. You can create up to 100 images a day. It's an amazing feeling. I think that creating images and using the chatbot that we saw last on Monday, I think it's just an amazing feeling when you're just sitting on your computer and creating text, having a conversation, creating images, and I think that's something that really can empower us. And we need to look at the bright side of AI and how it's going to change our lives for the better. So I'm going to leave some time for people to ask some questions. And those of you who aren't able to maybe understand how to connect to the website, I think there's going to be a recording and you can be able to see this again and again. So don't worry if you weren't able to do it right away, but it's very simple. You go to Google, you search for Bing image generator, and you press on the first link, you sign up. The only thing that might be a little bit tricky is the sign up, but you sign up and then you can use it. You get 100 tokens a day. So if anybody wants to ask a question, you can open your microphone or write on the chat. I'll be very happy to answer.
Tell me, how is AI used to count things and control things, aside from creating pictures and text?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It's a very complex model. And so it's based on a machine learning model, and it's you know these machine, it's called machine learning because it's basically been trained on millions and millions of data points, where you can, you know, if you imagine giving a computer, let's take it a very simple, okay, let's say I take a computer and I give it all the information you need to know about taking care of dogs, let's say, okay. And I feed it information, and then I teach it what's right and what's wrong. Okay, and I keep on teaching until it basically learns the rules and it knows how to differentiate each thing. And this is after I trained it, you know, for maybe years even. And so and then the AI knows my job is to know everything there is to know about dogs. And then it can make decisions and it can help me, and even more, it can maybe, because it knows all this information, if I give it, you know, I tell it to keep on learning and correcting itself, it can come to much more complex assumptions or answers than what a human being could be able to do, because it can calculate a lot faster. Okay, so that's just one example, but AI can be used on all of our aspects of life. And because it's trained on so much data, and because it has computing power that is much stronger than a human being, the capability of the AI is enormous. The models that we're seeing today is something that's been trained years and years and years until it was able to be good enough for us to use on our computers. So it's a long process, and it's a lot of computing, a lot of very, very genius engineers that were able to do this. But at the end of the day, it's machine learning. It's something that that you know you can study in university. I learned business and economics. We had a very basic course on machine learning, and you can understand the basic concepts. But you know, with enough data, with enough programmers, you can put AI into almost any aspect of this world. I don't know if that answered your question, but maybe if you want to specifically ask something else, then I'll know to answer.
No, that was fine. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Of course, my pleasure. Anybody else has a question? Feel free. It's you know, be happy to answer any question.
Okay. So Gabi, we
Yeah,
would like to really we would like really to thank you for the lectures and Pashut Tech. And I think maybe later we're going to send to everybody that participated the link to Pashut Tech, because they have other lectures and they do it as from Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. So it's a really nice connection for us here in Rhode Island. And I really want to thank you both, Uri and Gabi, for creating this opportunity here to connect and teach. I think it was very educating to myself as well. Again, I would like to thank Briar & Briar for sponsoring the event. I want to mention to those who are interested, we have in-person event in collaboration with RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, the CIC Cambridge Innovation Center in Providence on October 26th. It's free. It will be in the afternoon. It will be on AI and art, and it will deal with the different aspects of AI and art. I think it will be a fascinating evening. You can go on our webpage and we'll send the information, and you can register if you would like to come in person. As we said, this will be, it was recorded and we'll send it to you. So sometimes it's hard to capture some information so you can be able to use it. And also feel free to share it with other people. Once you get the link to the presentation, share it with others, because what we learned is very simple. AI, it's a big word. It's doing a revolution in technology, but in the end of the day, the application can be used by everyone. Everyone can use it. It's simple. I tried the PI AI that Gabi tried. Gave us last week, and I wanted to write Rosh Hashanah greeting to my wife, and I described a few things, and it did it. And it's like, scratched my head, and it's like, I could write that nice. But obviously there is the power of knowledge of, and that's the advantage of here. And the same here with a picture. That was a fascinating information. So again, we would like to wish everyone on this recording, on everyone else, next year, this Jewish New Year, Shana Tova, from Providence, Rhode Island. And again, thank you all for participating, and thank you, Gabi, for your fascinating lecture. So until next time, and by the way, if you like more of such lectures, please send us an email, info at the Rhode Island Israel Collaborative. It's www.theric.org. Or if you applied, you should have our email already. And we'll try to bring programs similar to that in collaboration with Uriel and Gabi. So thank you again. Shana Tova to everyone. And until next time.
Shana Tova, everyone.